Thanks for joining us on this edition of National Focus. I'm Lourianne Graham-Carter. Coming up, $400,000 for small business development in Paix-Bouche. Acts passed in Parliament in 2016 will benefit Dominica, and the police chief pleased with the performance of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. Stay with us for details of these and other stories after this.
What's for dinner?
I know, but you and Cheryl.
Who? Cheryl? Oh, babes, that's nothing.
Nothing? With the neighbor, that is nothing?
Come on.
Whatever.
You know you're my number one.
And she's number what, 10? Plenty married women get engaged from the husband these days. I don't want to be one of them. From now on, I'm looking out for me.
But babes, I only talk to the woman.
Until I'm certain this will take care of both of us, if you're lucky.
Your family depends on you. Don't take home aids.
Thank you for staying with us. The twin communities of Paix-Bouche and Dodan are expected to experience a growth spurt in small business. The Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. Roosevelt Skerritt, has announced that a cash injection has been approved to go specifically towards small business development in those communities. Honorable Skerritt delivered the news at the 18th inaugural meeting of the Paix-Bouche Dodan Village Council.
The government will make available to the communities of Paix-Bouche and Dodan a sum of $400,000 that will go exclusively, to small business development in these two areas. Also, the Member of Parliament, for both members of Parliament, have indicated the government's commitment to improving on the infrastructure, and funds will be approved by the Cabinet in the next 2 weeks to improve and upgrade every single road in the Portsmouth and Paix-Bouche constituency.
The Honorable Finance Minister also revealed that additional resources have been made available to eradicate pit latrines in the Paix-Bouche and Portsmouth constituencies.
If all goes well, before the end of March, April, May, I believe you can achieve universal access to washrooms in this part of Dominica. and for those who do not have water, the government will connect water for you at no cost to yourself.
The Honorable Prime Minister also committed to assisting Dominica State College students of the community of Dodan with transportation allowance. GIS News will bring you more from this Village Council inauguration in subsequent newscasts. Attorney General Levi Peters says the legislation which were passed in Parliament in 2016 will create a better society. Honorable Peters, speaking at a press briefing last Friday, referred to the Sexual Offences Act, which he noted was a topical issue.
The Minister referred to the Sexual Offences Act, which you all are aware is was a very topical issue, certainly over the last year, perhaps a year to 18 months. And that was passed a few months ago, and it appears that it is so far working its way through, but there seems to be general consensus that it was a needed piece of legislation, that amendment, and that it appears to be working effectively. Of course, like all legislation, it will be kept under review, and if and when necessary, amendments will be made to it.
Two other pieces of legislation which were passed in Parliament were the Money Laundering Prevention Amendment and the Proceeds of Crime Amendment.
Those two pieces of legislation were also important. Maybe they didn't attract the same level of news coverage, but those pieces of legislation are critical not only to combating money laundering and proceeds of crime, but to ensuring that our legal framework is sufficiently robust to support our financial responsibilities to the international financial community.
The Geothermal Resources Development Act was also passed in Parliament last year. The act is geared at reducing the cost of electricity for citizens.
That is an act which repeals and replaces the previous legislation, geothermal legislation going back to the 1970s. And of course, with our thrust to bring in geothermal energy to a realization and a reality, and thereby reducing the cost of electricity to consumers, both private and commercial, in Dominica. This piece of legislation is critical to that.
In 2017, several bills will be addressed, including the family and procurement legislation.
As a certainty, you can expect the family legislation, which has been spoken about for some time. It's referred to colloquially as the family suite of legislation, which involves the an amended Domestic Violence Act, Child Justice Act, and other pieces of legislation in support of the family court will be passed. The procurement legislation is also anticipated for 2017, both an act and supporting regulations. Those are under consideration, and I anticipate that they will go to Parliament, if not in the first sitting, but certainly early in the legislative calendar.
The Public Order Act will also be looked at in 2017. The Honorable Attorney General says this is an important act to address public order situations.
A bill which I am very much hopeful will see its way to Parliament early in 2017 is the Public Order Act. We have, over the years, we have had a Public Order Act in Dominica. It's of quite some vintage, and it is not, in my view, fit for purpose. The new Public Order Act is expected to more comprehensively address public order situations and to bring our public order legislation more closely aligned to that of other jurisdictions in the region and indeed internationally. It will cover things like public meetings, the circumstances in which they can be held, what authority is required, what offences will be created in marches, processions and so forth, as well as addressing other aspects.
In more news, Police Chief Daniel Carbon says he is pleased with the performance of the police force in 2016. He describes 2016 as a good year for the force and looks forward to greater things in 2017. Carbon was addressing a press briefing at the Ministry of Finance conference room last Friday.
The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force worked very hard. I am more than satisfied with the performance of the police. Having said so, there is always room for improvement. And I want to guarantee the general public that there will be improvement, especially in the area of police uniform presence in the city of Roseau and island-wide.
The police chief noted that in 2016, police officers did a tremendous job with the management of the crime rates.
I can tell you that in 2016 we had 10 murders reported, and we solved 8. And to me, that is a tremendous achievement. Having said so, in relation to a crime, I would want to see, although we have a fair conviction rate at the courts, because we've been doing a very good work at our investigations, but I would like to see an improved situation in our conviction rate.
In addition to the ongoing renovation work at the Monbruce Barracks, work will also be done on several police stations across the island.
We also have work to come in 2017 this year. We intend to do refurbishment work at the police training school. There is a budget allocated for that in the region of almost $500,000. We have a project for Maho police station because Maho is congested at the station there and the accommodation is not too good. We have an addition to put north of the Maho police station to accommodate up and down, accommodate the sergeant quarters and quarters for female officers, because Maho is a district that never sleeps. We also have the Portsmouth police station that needs some urgent attention, and so work is to be done at the Portsmouth police station. We have the St. Joseph quarters, because St. Joseph is an area that is allocated an inspector, and the inspector has to be moving from his home to St. Joseph on a daily basis, and so funds have been approved to build a St. Joseph quarters.
Government through the Ministry of Education is continuing to take action to improve the performance of students across the island. On Monday, the Ministry of Education, in collaboration with United States Agency for International Development USAID and the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States OECS Secretariat, began a 2-week training for teachers under the Early Learners Program.
The intent is to ensure that we adopt a proactive approach to ensuring students' performance. We target the early years, the students from K up to grade 3, so that their performance, the improvement, will permeate through the system. You will well agree that if we target the students in the early years, then the end result will be improvement of performance across the board.
Assistant Chief Education Officer Dr. Jeffrey Blaise explained that the program has several dimensions, which include training for teachers by local trainers. The Assistant Chief Education Officer says this ensures the sustainability of the program.
Teacher growth and development, building capacity, is at the hub of whatever we do in education. If we don't ensure that our teachers are updated with their knowledge and skills, then we would not be doing justice to the system. And hence we put premium effort on teacher development.
Other components include the development of a language policy, teacher professional development, a reading curriculum, and teaching and learning resources. This pilot training for the Early Learners Program will be conducted for teachers of 12 primary schools on the island. Senior Curriculum Officer Robert Geist explained that the entire program will be rolled out for all primary school teachers in September 2017. In week 1, grade K and grade 1 teachers will be trained, and in the second week, grade 2 and 3 teachers. You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
Let's have some fun, eh?
I'm not ready for your kind of fun yet.
But everybody else is doing it.
But I'm not everybody else. I'm me, and I want to do well in school.
Well, you definitely get an A for attitude.
I plan to get an A in life, and then I'll think of your kind of fun.
So what am I to do in the meantime?
You'll survive.
Say no when you're not ready. Use condoms when you are.
Welcome back. The Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project, DVRP, under Component 2 of the program is working to improve Dominica's hydromet system. Meteorology and hydrology consultant Mark Hegley was on island last week meeting with various organizations including the WASCO, DOMLEC and the Forestry Division, and visiting sites around the island.
My first mission here is basically to take a first look at the country to see where they are in terms of their infrastructure, the capacity they have, the people they have to do the job, to produce better meteorological information. And we expect this to help everybody in the country in terms of trying to deal with weather. Weather is something that affects everybody's life every day.
Hegley says his aim is to improve the capacity of the Dominica Meteorological Office by simplifying the existing hydromet system.
The system that's in place is not too different than anything else. There's been a lot of people donating different systems, so there's 4 or 5 different systems, very complex to operate. I'm from the United States, and it's very difficult for us to operate as many systems as you're operating here, and we have a bigger interest, we have more people. So we hope to coalesce that or make that just maybe like one type of system, so it'll be much easier to manage.
A new hydromet system for Dominica will mean collecting and reporting real-time and precise weather-related data to improve Dominica's early warning system, particularly for flash flooding and landslide. The project will invest $800,000 in a new hydromet system. In other news, coordinator of the Community Policing Initiative, Superintendent Coffee Williams, has confirmed that those involved in the community policing program have been trained by members of the police force. Williams made the comment during an exclusive interview with GIS News last week.
Sometime in the month of October, we, when I say we, the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force conducted a session of training up at Monbrew. So I think it was 2 or 3 weeks for these beach patrollers in basic training techniques, you know, and I think that they benefited immensely from that training. I must say, though, that although they are not police officers, they work together with us, and whatever assistance that they need while they're on patrol, we, the police, Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, will offer it to them.
William says members of the community assisted by the police are responsible for the community policing project.
In moving on, we are looking forward to launching the Woodford Hill Committee and the Mon Prosper Committee, whichever comes first. But in community policing, you know, the community takes charge of the initiative. They lead the way forward. It is not something that we are shoving down their throats. We bring the concept to them, and from there they develop it, and whatever advice that they need, whatever direction that they need, we, the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, we will give it to them.
The superintendent is encouraging nationals to play their part to keep their communities safe.
When this committee was being introduced to the various communities, we made it known to them that we are not trying to cultivate informants from them. We are not asking them to be snitches or anything like that. All we were asking them is to, you know, take charge of their communities, to ensure that peace and tranquility remains. It is like any other group. The only difference is that it is partnered with the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force.
And finally, this news time, Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Timothy Antoine, believes that if banks in the Caribbean were to consolidate, the region would be advanced financially. Antoine, addressing a media conference at the Financial Center last week, said consolidation of banks is important because the current environment is difficult for indigenous banks to thrive.
At the moment in the ECC, we have 12 national or 12 indigenous banks. But here's the issue. We only have a population of 630,000. So when you add the indigenous banks with the foreign banks or the international banks, frankly spoken, there are too many banks in this small space. And why do I say that? Because the costs are high. The cost of the buildings, the cost of compliance, the cost of putting in technology, the cost of putting in security to deal with fraudsters and hackers and so on, the cost of dealing with anti-money laundering, the cost of maintaining corresponding bank relations, the cost of competing with foreign banks. See? So consolidation would provide a lot of benefits for the people of the region, and we strongly are encouraging our indigenous banks to come together.
He noted that the approach taken by the credit unions to come together is a good one, and the banks should use this approach for the benefit of their business and their customers.
That is why I like and I applaud the move that the credit unions in Dominica have taken to come together and to merge. That's a good step. And frankly, the banks need to do a similar type of thing. That will strengthen them so that they could better respond to the challenges and to meet the needs of customers. What that also does is it reduces their unit costs, which makes them more profitable and better able to serve customers. So I want to strongly encourage, and we are encouraging, all of our national banks. I've said before and I repeat, we want to see a banking system where we have international or foreign banks and we have indigenous banks. We don't want all foreign or all indigenous. We believe the mix is good. But what we cannot have are weak indigenous banks. Why? Because then they will put depositors' funds at risk. And we don't want that. So we believe the time is ripe for us to move forward with the amalgamation.
And that's the news. Coming up next, your tip of the day on positivity.
Hey, I had a good time in town last week with a pretty girl, boy.
Hey, carry me next time when you're going now.
When we get paid Friday, we gonna go.
Careful, you might catch AIDS.
AIDS? Them girl pretty. Them girl can't get AIDS,
I
boy.
think it's only ugly women have AIDS. Anybody could get it. If you get sick, what you gonna tell your wife?
Hey, your wife, come in. Hey, change the topic. Change the topic.
Your family depends on you. Don't take home AIDS.
Here are some quick tips to stay positive in negative situations. The golden rule of staying positive in a negative situation is to control your responses. Look at a negative situation or event as an opportunity to learn and grow personally. We are humans, so we make mistakes from time to time. When you do, you need to step up and admit it. That's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GISNewsDominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Lourianne Graham-Carter. Thanks for watching and join us again next time on National Focus.